I remember I got this crazy question. I could not think of an answer, and I just started talking about bananas for 5 minutes, which is not my shining moment. And I'm like, I should just take the shovel out of my hands right now.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Specialty Café, a podcast that empowers medical trainees to choose their perfect specialty. We're brand new to YouTube, and this is our very first episode ever. My name is Cameron Wong, and I'm a fourth-year medical student currently studying at Queen's University. I'm really excited to invite you to listen to this episode, an episode with Dr. Harley Bray, an OBGYN resident from the University of Manitoba, to talk about the period before match day. Yeah. Hi, Harley. Thanks so much for joining me on this episode.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So before we get started, I was just wondering, Harley, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name's Harley. I'm from Manitoba. I've done all my training here top to bottom. So I did medical school here at the University of Manitoba, and then now I'm a PGY2 in the program of obstetrics and gynecology at the University of Manitoba. I live on a little hobby farm just outside of Winnipeg. So we've got some miniature goats here. We've got some ponies. I kind of moonlight as a goat farmer in my spare time, which is few and far in between, but that's sort of been my life for the last couple of years.
Very nice. Yeah. Thanks for telling us a little bit about yourself. The discussion that I'm hoping to have today is about the period that we're in right now, where the fourth years have submitted their rank lists and we're waiting for match day, essentially. And so maybe my first question for you, if you can recall, how do you remember feeling at this time when you were a fourth year med student and you were anxiously awaiting the results on match day?
Very nervous. It's almost kind of echoey, like it's out there in the world and you've submitted your rank list and the program submitted theirs and it's all in this big algorithm and your future is being decided. So it's very nerve-wracking. I think there's nothing much you can do after you submitted that rank list and you've done your best for how many years now you've prepared for this. So it's kind of, there's not much you can do. And I've kind of felt that way. I was like, you know what, I'm a pros and cons person. So making my rank list, pros and cons, sat down with, people in my life, my mom, my partner, and saying, and one of my deans and one of my mentors, he said, you know what, just put all of your programs that you applied to in a hat and pull them out and feel what you would feel if that was the choice or the decision that you got on match day. And that sort of helped me with my rank list a little bit. But yeah, once you've submitted your rank list, it's a couple of weeks in between. And so just kind of take that time to relax and be proud of everything that you've done and just kind of wait for the day of, I guess.
That's really similar to, I guess, the process that I've at least tried to do for myself in applying to CaRMS, chatting with my friends about what matters most to me, where I want to live, pros and cons of the different programs that I've applied to, and trying to lay everything out. And it's a bit of a weird feeling that I can imagine kind of going into that period where you've submitted your rank list, the programs have submitted theirs, and there's nothing you can do because I think I maybe speak for myself, but maybe other people in medicine, a lot of people in medicine love control over.
Oh, yeah. We're all type A.
Very type A, want to know what the outcome is, how to act on it. And so it's a very powerless time.
For sure. And I think too, it's just why is there so many weeks in between this time and that time? I just want to know, but it's all okay. Patience is a virtue, even though I'm not the most patient person all the time. But yeah, it's a crazy time to just sort of wait for your future to start. So.
Did you or anyone else around you during that period of waiting start to doubt your rank list?
I did not. I didn't go back and look at my rank list. I wouldn't advise that. I don't think once you submitted it, just, let it be. Obviously, when you're going through and making your rank list, be really sure before you submit. I've definitely knew people that switched very last minute, within seconds of it being due, which I also don't have in face, but I never went back and looked at my rank list. You're kind of confident in your top, however many, 3, 4, 5. And then, in between it gets a blur. You're like, and all of these programs are good, bad, or whatever. They're just kind of, they do a little bit blend together. And then you've got your bottom ones that you're like, I would really prefer not to go here. But I don't know too many people that regretted their rank list. I know that that does exist. And you know what? If you do regret your rank list, I mean, obviously there's not much you can do, but it's gonna be okay. Try not to think about it. You're gonna end up in a great place. You're gonna do great things. So I think just trying to keep it out of your mind if you do regret it. There's not much you can do about it at this point anyway, so it's best to just think about other things and knowing that it's gonna be fine.
hmm Yeah, the like theme that I think is kind of coming up among like me and my friends, and also the advice that upper years have also given me as a fourth year med student at this point is to kind of, like you said, like be confident in like the values that like you've compared throughout the process, and also that like things will work out hopefully like once like the match result comes out. Yeah, but like as you said, it's like it's a bit of a up to chance kind of thing. Like you leave it to the
Yeah.
computer and the algorithm and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And like, there's so much that's out of your power in CARMS. It's a crazy system, and like there's so many variables. So don't be too hard on yourself if, things, you regret something or things don't go your way. Like it's just the name of the game, and it happens to a lot of people. So know that you're not alone in feeling this way. It is a crazy system. Like crazy.
One question that I had for you was, in this time, like when you're trying to think about anything but like the result that's coming for, match day, and what kinds of like things did you do to distract yourself or to like kind of like stay well with your friends and in med school and yeah.
Yeah, I think taking time, because it's a very unique time where you're like, you've kind of done your exams. Some people may have their MCCQE coming up. I think I spent some time studying for that as well. But, you're kind of done all your courses. You're kind of guaranteed to graduate at this point, which is a really nice kind of secure feeling. So I don't know, take time to spend time with your family, which you didn't always get the time to do while you were in med school. You sacrifice so much when you're in med school. So I took a lot of time to spend with my family, my mom, my sister, my partner, just the most important people to me. I spent a lot of time with my grandma as well. We went on a trip. Lots of people do traveling during this time too, just to sort of get away and detach yourself from all the crazy CARM stuff for the entire year. Some people kind of bury themselves in some studying for the MCCQE, which some people delay until after match day. But I think just taking time to do the things that you weren't able to do, like throughout all of med school and CARMS, and some people plan that in advance. You're like, in between this time, I want to make sure I have a trip planned, or I have this planned or that planned or whatever. Is that sort of, I think, what I would do to detach a little bit and just kind of do just anything other than think about CARMS, because there's
Yeah.
not much you can do about that. So do pretty much anything else.
That's really good advice. Like I'm not yet in that period. I guess at the time that we're recording, rank lists are still yet to be due, but hopefully, yeah, like you're right, I'll be able to like spend time with friends like that I hadn't been able to do just because everyone was everywhere for interviews. I went back home to Calgary. I know some other people that went back home, stayed in like at home for where like their med school is. Yeah, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to, just being able to have that. And like also being able to spend time with family helps too, I'm guessing, especially for people who are more like prone to like doubting maybe like how did that interview actually go, or how did my rank list actually pan out, and just like have some voice of reason nearby to like
somebody to ground you for sure. And also, you know what, you might be moving away, right? So this is good time to spend at home with the people that you love, because you might not be at home next year. You just don't know. So I think I really just, that kind of kicked into my brain too. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be living in Newfoundland in a couple of months. Like maybe I should spend time with my family. So that's kind of what I did.
Yeah, that's very fair. Maybe like as a follow-up question that's like quite similar to asking what strategies for, mitigating stress during this period of time, like anything that you would tell yourself as a fourth year med student at this point in time, just as like, a voice of reason now that you're a wise PGY2?
No, not much wiser. I think I'm very much a planner. I like to have plan B, C, D, E. And so going into match day, I kind of went in, I think it's really important to go in with a very humble mindset, and that you might not get your first choice, and that's okay. But I think going in realizing, you might not get your first choice or your second choice. I don't think, I had a lot of people say that, oh, you know what, if you don't just stick to your plan A, then you're not putting your full passion, and you're not confident in that plan. And I just don't think that's true. I think that it's important to sort of have a mindset that like, if you don't get your first choice, that's okay, because you know what? It makes good news better and it makes bad news tolerable. And so that's sort of the advice that I would give myself, is to still have, it's okay if you don't get your first choice, and there's going to be people that don't. And so that is something that I would sort of urge people to go in with a little bit of that mindset, just in case, something doesn't go as planned. But overall, that it's going to be okay. I know a lot of people told me that when I was going through it, and I'm like, you don't know, it's going to be okay. And you're freaking out and stuff. So I get that, but like, it is going to be fine. You're going to do great no matter where you end up. And it's just about being able to sort of adapt and roll with the punches and stuff. Just take this time to really enjoy it, and because life is going to change in a couple of days. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, if there's anything that I've learned from even like speaking with previous episodes with residents, I remember speaking with Victoria, who is a current urology resident at Western and was previously unmatched for 1 year. I really came away with the impression of, well, yes, not everyone will match their top choice, or maybe even like not match. And it is totally not personal. There's like so many factors beyond your control that decide who matches where, like what quotas, like what people feel what quotas essentially, and what people feel like what's like departments needs. So yeah, I think that it really, like, that kind of depersonalization in a way adds control back to your, like, I guess, like how you can think about things.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. Like very wise words. So I guess like another question would be relating to this period in time. Was there ever like some gaps when you started to like maybe doubt how you like did on interviews? I know like for me, I've had like some fleeting thoughts of like, ooh, like maybe I should have practiced more. Like, oh, like did what I said like say during that like actually come off the way it did? It could just be like all chalked up to like the nerves of like waiting for match day. But I don't know if you or anyone else in your med school class felt the same way.
1,000%. There's definitely interviews that I know I'm like, well, that didn't go well. Like but then there's some interviews that are like, oh, that felt good. But then the more you think about it, you're like, did it go good? Am I losing my mind here? I don't know how, like you do spiral and you do think about things. You're not gonna, there's so many interviews. You're not gonna be 100% for all of them, and that's okay. I wouldn't spend too much time overthinking them, because it's done, it's in the past. Get ready for your next one, kind of thing. For people, coming up to do their interviews next year. But there are definitely going to be interviews that you don't perform well on. I remember I got this crazy question. I could not think of an answer, and I just started talking about bananas for 5 minutes, which is not my shining moment. And I'm like, I should just take the shovel out of my hands right now and go to the next question. So yes, there are going to be, and you know what, now I laugh at it and it's fine. And we all ended up in a great place. Absolutely. So don't stress about that. If you start stressing about it, just think about my banana answer and you will feel much better about yourself. So it's all good. We all flub up a little bit, so it's okay.
Yeah. And ultimately, I guess like that just ties into the fact that like, well, the CaRMS algorithm favors the applicants. So like, regardless of however like you performed on the interview, you're still going to rank your top choice.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a really good point and I knew a lot of people that would be like, oh, I didn't interview well for this place, so I'm going to rank it lower because I know they're not going to like it. And it's like, that's not the way to think about it. That's your top choice. Like, you rank it first. There was actually a person from our med school that, ranked a program a little bit lower, and then they didn't get that one, and they were wondering why. And they're like, well, you ranked us third or whatever. And it's like, oh, they're like, well, I didn't think that you would want me. And so just rank what you want to rank. Don't think about how you performed in the interviews, because it's just as much you interviewing them as you're getting interviewed yourself. So I think just don't overthink it. Go with your gut. And it's okay.
Yeah, especially in a system where the algorithm favors the applicant. That is one lesson that has just like been driven home to me so many times. Initially, when I did an episode with the CEO of CaRMS, and like also by all the up years just saying like, do not rank based on how you did in the interview, rank based on where you want to go.
Yes, exactly.
So very important. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps up all the questions that I wanted to cover. Like it is, whoa, like truly a period just full of like so many emotions. And like I feel really comforted just knowing that like you as a wise PGY2 went through many like of the same like spirals and thought processes that I think like I will be going through and am going through. But I do feel reassured like that when like in your answers, the common theme seems to be it's going to be okay.
It is. It's going to be fine. You're going to do great. I'm so excited for you and all the other Med 4s out there that are just, waiting for match day very eagerly. It's a very exciting time. It's a very challenging time. It's very polarizing, but it's going to be okay. Thank you so much for having me. It was such a great time chatting with you, and wishing everybody the best on match day.
Thank you so much, Harley. And yeah, thank you so much for your advice.
Nice.
So very nice. And always like really lovely to speak with residents like you. I feel like just like the way that like the self-filtering like way that like people come on the podcast, like usually you want to talk about things and like, so it makes for good conversation.
No, it's so nice. This is very cool. So thanks so much for having me. It was great.
Make sure to tune in next week for our new episode with a different residents on what to expect on match day. See everyone later.